As you can see, this board along with the 3 others like it are very twisted and warped. If you were to simply send this through a planer and get both faces flat, by the time they were all flat, it'd probably be less than a 1/2 inch thick, and that's not really usable, especially not for a tabletop. So I'm going to show you how to get it relatively flat before you end up surfacing it so you don't have to waste so much material. First step, using a circular saw, cut some scores into it. Be sure to have your saw set up so you do not go all the way through the board, and also don't cut all the way through the edges. After that, you'll clamp it down to a flat table, and then you are going to mix up some resin. There is no need to add any dye. I was just doing that because I wanted to test out the dye for a future project I have coming up. Then use a trowel and work the epoxy into all of the slots that you cut. Overnight, the epoxy is going to soak into the wood, so you will have to do multiple pours to top off the epoxy all the way to the surface of the wood. For those of you wondering at this point why one would go through all the time, effort, and money to try and save these boards when you could just go buy some new boards that are flat, well, the short answer is you can't, because this is flaming box elder, which is already a very rare wood, and on top of it, the bright blood red that you're going to later on see in these boards is one of a kind, and you cannot mimic it or find pieces to replace them. So here I am mixing up some pigments and dye to try and match the color of the box elder wood itself, even though it doesn't really matter because this will be on the bottom of the table and you will never see it. I figured, why not, just for fun. So once again, pouring it into all the cracks, and then I am going to use a trowel to spread it around evenly and top it off to the surface of the wood. After that, you're going to let it sit in the clamps for a few days, and then as you can see, after I pop it out of the clamps here, the pieces are pretty flat. After this, I'll surface both faces on every piece of wood so that they are 100% flat, and you will see that I saved quite a bit of material doing this method. So every day I get messages asking about this exact setup right here. I'm sure most of you can figure it out, but for those of you who can't, it is a router with a 2-inch surfacing bit, and I'm running it along a router sled to surface both of the faces of the wood to get them completely flat. So I'm putting some water on this piece just to give you guys a preview of what this wood will look like once it has finish on it. And as you can see, it has that dark, deep blood red color to it like I was saying before. And this is exactly why I went through so much time and effort to save these pieces of wood, because you really can't mimic or buy pieces of wood just like this. Now that is insane. You don't really find too much flaming box elder that is this colored and that deep of a red. That's beautiful. And these pieces of wood were actually salvaged by one of my sisters who works for a county park system in our area, and I'll be using these pieces of wood to build her a coffee table. And at the time of this recording, I have already finished this coffee table, and it did turn out truly one of a kind, so I definitely recommend staying tuned and be on the lookout for future build videos and photos of this table to come very soon.